The time is 12 o'clock. Here is the midday news. First, the top stories. The PDP caretaker committee expected in Abeokuta to take over Secretariat. Governor Ajimobi installs 21 new Obas, asks Olubado to avoid politics. Force headquarters accuses senator of being a deserter from police force. Boko Haram faction seek talks with presidency, says captured commander. In foreign, EU and UK to begin formal Brexit talks on Brussels, and Kenya bans plastic bag. Good afternoon, I am Chienye Egwuonwu, bringing you the news and details shortly. Top members of the newly inaugurated Ogun State PDP Caretaker Committee are expected to arrive today in Abeokuta for the takeover of the party's secretariat from the existing State Executive Committee led by Bayo Dayo. Those being expected are the Caretaker Committee's chairman, Tunde from Osun State, and Afolabi Ariyo from Ekiti State, who is the committee's secretary. A member of the Caretaker Committee told Rock City FM in Abeokuta that they are expecting the State Police Command to act on the letter written to the force headquarters by the National PDP Caretaker Committee to reject the Adebayo Dayo-led State Executive Committee from the Secretariat. Rock City FM was told that the ejection of the existing State Executive Committee, which is loyal for both Alimodu Sharif and Senator Buruji Kashamu from the Secretariat, will pave the way for the Caretaker Committee to effectively run the party's affairs in the state. But the secretary of the existing Ogun State PDP, Alhaji Semiu Shudipo, had told Rock City FM in an interview in Abeokuta that it will resist the planned takeover of the Abeokuta Secretariat. A man has been arrested by the anti-vandal operatives of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, for attempting to commit suicide over unpaid loan. The 34-year-old man, who identifies himself as Abiodun Onikwede, was arrested by the NSCDC squad during a patrol in a forest on Ayetoro Road on the outskirts of Abeokuta. He had already tied a rope around his neck and was about to hang himself on a tree when he was sighted by the patrol team. Onikwede, who claims to be a former officer of Ogun State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Corps, TRACE, told newsmen after he was rescued that he took the decision to hang himself following his inability to refund the loan he took from NAPO, a microfinance loan syndicate. The man says that he dropped out of Federal College of Education at 200 level and had to abandon his job at Trace for a year to relocate to Akwa Ibom State due to financial problems, which made it very difficult to pay the hospital bills of his sick child, who eventually died in 2009. Onikwede explains that on arrival back in Abeokuta from Akwa Ibom State, he discovered he had been sacked by Trace and he had to obtain loan from a money lending scheme to start a commercial tricycle business. According to him, the pressure on him and his family by the money lending scheme operators over his failure to service the loan regularly forced him to consider taking his own life. Spokesman of the Ogun State Command of NSCDC, Ogbonnaya Dike, says the man will be handed over to the police after the completion of investigations by the agency's intelligence unit. Governor Abiola Ajimobi has urged the Olubado of Ibadan, Oba Saliu Adetunji, to steer clear of politics in order to protect the sanctity of traditional institution in Ibadan land. The governor issues the advice while giving the insignia and instrument of office to 21 new beaded crowns in Ibadan. He expresses concern that recent utterances of the Olubado are tending towards partisan politics. He accuses some individuals of manipulating the Olubado after he had a mutual agreement with him during series of meetings on the need to create the new beaded crowned Obas in Ibadan land. The Olubado, according to the governor, is the father of all Ibadan citizens and should not allow himself to be used by those he called disgruntled elements, adding that Obas are not expected to play politics. The Olubado and former governor Rashid Ladoja, who is one of the new beaded crowned Obas, did not attend the ceremony. Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, has joined the call on the Joint Admissions Matriculation Board (JAM) to reverse the cut-off mark for the admission of students into the higher institution of learning for the 2017-2018 academic year. JAM had announced the cut-off mark of 120 for universities and 100 for polytechnics and colleges of education. ASUP National President Usman Dutse, speaking in Abuja, describes the cut-off marks as an embarrassment to Nigeria's educational system and should be raised. The cut-off marks, according to him, represents 25% of the examination's mark of 400, a standard which he regards as not globally accepted. Force Headquarters has said that Senator Issa Mizau, who accused the Inspector General of Police of official corruption, is still on the police officers' list. It calls the senator a suspected criminal, according to the Criminal and Penal Code. Force spokesman Jimoh Moshood, in a statement, says the senator is wanted for absconding from the police force on September 2010, when he was redeployed to the Niger State Police Command. According to Moshood, the senator was queried, and he also refused to proceed to the junior command course at the Staff College in Jos between January 5 and June 19, 2009. He also accused the senator of presenting to journalists a forged retirement letter. The senator has raised an eyebrow when he first alleged that police officers were offering bribes to be promoted, and later accused the police inspector general of collecting 1 billion naira monthly from the state police commissioners nationwide. The allegations had been denied by the force headquarters. A member of the House of Representatives, Dr. Tony Egwuonwu, has been declared the APC candidate for the November 18 governorship poll in Anambra State. Egwuonwu picked the APC governorship ticket in a keenly contested primaries that lasted 2 days in Awka, the state capital. Chairman of the primaries poll, Governor Kashim Shettima, announcing the results, says that Egwuonwu scored 2,146 votes to defeat its closest rival, Senator Andrew Ba, who got 931 votes. Other major contenders were Chief George Moghalu, who obtained 525 votes, Bath Nwibe, 414 votes, Paul Chukwuma, 110 votes, John Bosco Onunkwo, 85 votes, and Nonso Madu with 21 votes. Governor Shettima says of the 4,333 votes cast, 4,302 were valid and 31 invalid. Two factions of Boko Haram sect may be ready for talks with the presidency to end the insurgency in the northeast region. The proposed talks was made known by the sect's chief intelligence officer, Abdul Kadri Abubakar, captured by security forces in Bunyadi, Yobe State, last June. Abubakar, now in military detention, says both Mama Nur and Al-Banawi factions want to cooperate with Nigerian security forces to defeat the sect's leader, Abubakar Jikau, who he describes as bloodthirsty and being high-handed. The captured Boko Haram's top commander reveals that he undertook intelligence mission which led to Boko Haram attack on Government Girls Secondary School in Chibok, in which 275 girls were abducted, and on Government Secondary School in Bunyadi, in which over 20 students were roasted to death. He also admitted taking part in all the various Boko Haram attacks, including those on Maiduguri, Damaturu, and Potiskum. You are still listening to the Midday News on Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we bring you foreign, business, and sports news. Please do stay with us. In foreign, formal Brexit talks are due to resume in Brussels later, with British negotiators urging the EU to show flexibility and imagination. Brexit Secretary David Davis wants to broaden discussions to include trade. Mr. Davis and European Commission's chief negotiator Michel Barnier will meet on Monday to formally start the negotiations. Officials will then meet in working groups to discuss the detail behind each side's proposals before the round is closed by Mr. Davis and Mr. Barnier on Thursday. The UK is set to leave the EU by the end of March 2019, Following last year's referendum vote, in the first phase of negotiations, British and EU officials are meeting each month for 4 days in Brussels. A ban on plastic carrier bags has come into force in Kenya, which means that from Monday, anyone found selling, manufacturing, or carrying them could face fines of up to $38,000 or prison sentences of up to 4 years. A court on Friday rejected a challenge to the ban. Travelers coming into Kenya with duty-free plastic shop bags will be required to leave them at the airport under the new rules. The government gave a 6-month window for adjustment, which expired on Sunday night. Manufacturers who use polythene to wrap products are exempted from the ban. A number of other African countries have outlawed plastic carrier bags, including South Africa, Rwanda, and Eritrea. Next is the business news. Insurance practitioners are to partner with the relevant federal agency to create a platform to detect fake insurance documents. Under the plan, only registered insurance practitioners will be able to log into the proposed portal for the transaction of business and issuing of original insurance papers. President of the Association of Senior Staff of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions, Mrs. Onyiko, who made this known, says that over 3 million cargoes imported into Nigeria through airports and seaports carried fake insurance papers. She explains that governments and insurance companies lost over 6 billion naira yearly in revenue with the use of fake insurance papers for transactions on land, houses, and health products. Finally, sports news. League leaders Plateau United narrowly escaped the home defeat yesterday after they came back from the dead to force Rivers United to 1-1 draw at the Rampam Stadium in Jos. Following the 0-1 defeat suffered by MFM in Umuahia, Plateau United are still leading the table with 63 points with 2 matches left to play, after walloping Wiki Tourists by 4-0 in Calabar with a goal each from Ikechukwu Ibenegbu, Stephen Chukwude, Chinonso Okonkwo, and Stanley Dingba. Enyimba also moved into 4th place on 57 points behind MFM, who are in 3rd on 59 points. Aqua United, who defeated Lobby Stars by 2-1 on Friday in Uyo, are in the 2nd place on 60 points and are in strong contention for one of the CAF Champions League tickets. In Shagam, a brace from Clement Bobby saw Rangers beating relegated Remo Stars by 2-1. That was the midday news, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Ogun PDP Caretaker Committee expected in Abeokuta to take over Secretariat. Governor Ajimobi installed 21 new Obas, asked Olubado to avoid heretics. Force headquarters accused senator of being a deserter from police force. Boko Haram factions seek talks with presidency, said captured commander. In foreign, we also told you that EU and UK will begin formal Brexit talks on Brussels, and Kenya banned plastic bags. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you very much for listening. I am Chienye. Egwuonwu. Good afternoon.